Well, fortunately, we did take an L, but even better, we're going to have some great news coming up here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Thank y'all for pulling up. I'm your host, Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So on today's episode, whenever Coop gets back in here, we'll toss him back in. But we're going to dive into a few major topics like the LSU game. We're going to dive into that and our thoughts to initially start there. Then we're going to talk about the latest. We had a decommitment and we just had somebody hit the portal. But don't worry, that's not the only ones. And I'll explain what that means in a moment. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and join your boys. Coop, happy Sunday. How you doing, my guy?
You know, had some good time hunting this weekend, and you know, I got a little 6-point, nothing too massive. He was the biggest one when we dropped him off the processor, but you know, and hopefully I don't out myself here. In the infamous words of Kendrick Lamar, B, don't kill my vibe. I just listen, man. We made it through this. We made it through this whole season. And, you know, now we're going to see there's going to be some ups and some downs. This staff has shown that they're good at keeping people kind of locked in for the majority of the situations. And so, yeah, you know, Jay, got a lot of thoughts about the game, got a lot of thoughts about the next 9 months before we kick off again. And so I'm glad to be here on a nice Sunday evening.
Exactly, man. I am pretty excited. This is going to be a fun show. Thank y'all for pulling up. What's good, everybody in the chat? We appreciate y'all joining us here today. It's going to be fun. I'm telling y'all as we speak. Y'all saw we had a decommitment. We had somebody enter the portal. If that's the case, you know what that tells me, Coop? They're having meetings, exit meetings right now. They've flown back. They've gotten things settled. They're beginning the exit meetings for the season. And with the portal about to open up this week, you're going to see a lot of people jumping in there. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But real quick, I want to explain to open us up what I meant when I said it's going to be a bloodbath. If you didn't check out my video earlier this week, I explained in detail in the video. Brace yourself. Every team in college football, especially at the P4, P5 level, will have to cut their rosters down to 105 players. The SEC is instituted where they're only allowing 85 scholarship players with the 105 roster. Big Ten hasn't really said much on that, but I'm assuming they're going to follow suit. Same thing with the other conferences. Once the ruling comes down in March, the 26 rosters will consist of scholarship players up to either 105 or 120. We're waiting to see what that final number is going to be. But to let you know, as of right now, every school is about to start carving back. They ain't got a choice. You got to hit that number. So you're going to see classes get smaller. You're going to start seeing rosters, the players hit the portal because you got to get rid of people. You got to cut folks. And so parity's about to hit for one season in college football. After that, when those roster numbers go back up, oh, you're going to see people throwing it out there and the revenue share start. You're going to see dudes coming boomeranging right back. So there's probably a good chance a lot of these coaches are probably telling these kids, hey, it's great that you are that you've been here and we want to keep you. We've got to cut our roster down. Next season, we'll look for you again. So brace yourself on that. But Coop, let's talk about the game. Yeah, man, that was a decent start, and then LSU did exactly what Alabama refused to do. They just loaded the box. They told the quarterback, beat me with your arm. Start with offense. We're going to defense, because we're probably not going to be able to talk that much long about this because the news is going to start flying. And as the news start flying, I expect for us to us to go through a lot of this stuff. My goodness, there's a guy that just flipped from Florida to Texas and just flipped back from Texas to Florida. What is going on here? is bananas. But anyway, Coop, let's talk about it. That man. We just play right into LSU's hands, man. I'm so glad season's over. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Listen, you know, when you take away the stuff with Alabama, I just had the feeling, Jay, that I was going to depend on the average or the mean of the entire season, and the Alabama game was not was not, you know, congruent with the rest of the season. And so I told my father-in-law right before we started, I was like, I don't expect us to win this game at all. And he was like, I thought you were, you know, but after the Alabama, and I said, yeah, well, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And the reason why is I think that this was the first team that actually just was like, you know, hell with it. Let's not play scared. Let's just go deep. And the receivers were able to make plays, and that just kept us in a bad spot. And you know, when the defense knows that the offense is not going to be there that night, you know, it's hard to press. It's hard to press for 12 games. It's hard to keep on going. It's hard to lay your body out and fight through some of the stuff that they were doing. But I mean, they were going side to side to side to side to side to side to side deep. And that's just what they decided. That's the plan that they were going to do. And man, I mean, it just, like you said, I'm glad this season is wrapping up, because I don't know if we'll see another season like this ever again, where you have so many people out.
Nope.
You know, with injuries, you toss in the quarterback's inability to play within the game and do what he needs to do. And then on top of that, you know, the injuries, it just in the offensive line, and it's just, there's so much. So this team's going to look very, very, very different come August next year. It's going to look very different on offense.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a lot of changes on that. And this is funny. Ron Brown says LSU is far the bigger, stronger, faster, and better coach team. Yeah, that's stupid. No, it's not. LSU got destroyed by Alabama by being outweighed physically. They beat the crap out of them. We did the exact same thing to Alabama. Our problem was LSU actually schemed smartly. That's the difference. They were prepared. They're like, nah, we're not going to let them run down our throat just like Bama did to us. Because what Bama did to them, we did to Bama. So, no, it's not about strength and all of that. I mean, hell, our Mason Thomas was out there cooking. G-Baby got the strip sack. And, you know, we'll talk about defense in a minute. But my point is, our problem offensively is we just made some stupid choices. Very stupid choices. And one of those made choices is that we refuse to, throw the ball. Cool. Did you see this play? I want to make sure that I wasn't the only one that was watching this game. There was a play where Jackson Arnold took the hike. He rotated to the right. He stepped his foot beautifully and threw it. And guess what? J.J. Hester caught it for 50 yards. Isn't that amazing? Wasn't that just fire? Why didn't we do more of that? Yeah, those decisions made. It's just, you didn't do that. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Right? You've got third down, right? And you're making moves. Like, you're moving the ball down the field. Like, we had two great drives. We were driving down the field. I mean, we scored 17 points. Right? You're driving, you get a field goal. You have an opportunity to get a field goal, another touchdown. Especially after the 50-yard touchdown from Hester, drove down. Jackson Arnold runs it to the one. Xavier Robinson runs it down the throat and scores a touchdown, in which, I don't know if y'all knew that, he got hurt too. Yeah. But cool, why would you throw a QB double pass? I know Bauer Sharp was a quarterback, but why would you do that when all you got to do is just keep running it down their throat? It was just a lot of questionable decisions there. That was ridiculous.
It's like we did everything last week and then it came out this week and we're like, let's go ahead and open it up. Let's let some throwing happen. And man, it just didn't. I mean, listen, you're running. You're actually on the move, and then you throw that pass, And it's like, I know how those things get coached. And I promise you that Bauer Sharp heard at least 55 times, don't just toss it up.
Right.
Like, if you got to just throw it out of bounds, throw it out of bounds.
Throw it at your knees. Throw it at somebody's legs.
Take the penalty. I mean, you cannot just toss it up because everybody was going to be in the same area.
Makes no sense.
If it went wrong. So, I mean, it's just more of the same, right? And
the logic on the offensive side wasn't there. That was where the problem lies.
Yeah, it wasn't. And you saw them. I mean, it took a long time for Jackson to take off and run for the first time, and for a called QB run. And with that working last week, and why not try it? There's a lot of stuff that you just didn't try, and you came out and you were still. I mean, listen, you go into halftime, you gave up the kickoff return, which was definitely, that was something. That looked like an absolute terrible effort from the entire coverage team. But again, that's just been the microcosm of our season is watching what the Bauer Sharp situation, the kickoff return. And then, you're going down, 3 and out, and you let them score another touchdown. And we've said it before. The moment it goes to 10 points, I mean, it's game over. I mean, that's you pretty much were like, well, that's it. So I got up and I was doing some dishes, watching the game while doing dishes, like at that point, because it was like, man, I got stuff I got to do.
No, I totally agree. It's just bananas that the decision was, I mean, and I feel bad for Bauer Sharp here, right? Like, Bauer Sharp has not lived up to all of the hype that we saw in spring game camps and stuff. He's super athletic. He was doing some stuff. And then you started to force him to be your top guy. And he was not ready for that. He is built to be your complimentary guy, especially day one. But then everybody got hurt, and then it got to the point where he's the leading receiver on the team right now. Because he ain't got nobody that's been able to stay healthy enough for it, right? So you feel bad for the dude that he first year up in big boy ball, and he's expected to do everything. He's also not big enough yet to be that big time tight end like that. No. He needs to put on about 10 pounds, and he'll 10 of muscle, probably add about another 5 of fat, get him up there a good 255, which is probably what happened in this summer. So I think that he'll be a functional guy, but you asked him to do way too much in a situation that he was not prepared for.
It's kind of, I mean, that's how everybody, that's the whole, scheme and offense, just because the injuries, you were forced to take a lot of guys who were, not really supposed to be big pieces of this offense this year, all of a sudden become focal points of the offense. Who on their bingo card had, the most wide receiver routes ran by J.J. Hester this year, to start the year off. Bauer Sharp. Jay, we sat at the Temple game, and I told you, I said my prediction for touchdowns for Burks was 10. And after the third touchdown, I looked at you and said, I'm gonna have to up that. I might have to say just 10 in conference play because he looks like he's on some pace.
Right.
He never caught another touchdown. I also said Bauer Sharp at the end of that game one, had 50% of the tight end production we had from the previous year. And so, yeah, you can't do that. I mean, it's funny because we've heard people, well, they've got this guy injured, and what would this team look like if this guy, or what would this game look like? They said it about Trey Harris when we played Ole Miss. What would this offense look like if they had Trey Harris? And we're like, come on now, like, and everybody, the injuries were a story. They needed the story to be good enough. They needed to explain why people should stay tuned into an Oklahoma football game. And, so they started playing up the injuries over the past couple games. But, when we were playing on SEC Network and ESPN Plus and stuff, this was just a year that it's not one thing that went wrong. There's so many different things that it's like, how do you even, give yourself the opportunity to be competitive when you don't know where to start. And we complained about the identity, and they had no identity all year long because they didn't know who was going to be there. It's like the weekly captains situation, except for it was like, hey, that's what the depth chart started looking like. It was a joke. Seeing that injury status report, it was a joke by the end of the year. I mean, it was like, hey, can we have 12 people on there? Can we get 14 on there? How about 15? So,
no, you're 100% right there. Everything fell apart all year, nothing but injuries, and we dealt with it. So I think I'm glad that we're about to hire an offensive coordinator. Don't worry, we're going to talk about the decommits. We're going to talk about the decommits. We're going to talk about the transfer that hit. We'll talk about the other one that's going to hit. I expect some more to hit while we're on the live, so we'll be able to break a lot of that stuff while you all are hanging out with us. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. I know we always dive into the details of this stuff, and we like to give y'all our honest opinions and stuff, and so we appreciate y'all pulling up. One thing, Coop, though, that bothered me the most about all of this, too, and I'm being honest, around the play, and this is why I said the offensive coordinator I was so much excited about. I'm so excited about us getting one is, why would you run a wide receiver screen with Zion Ragin as your main blocker?
He's your lead blocker.
Zion. He's your lead blocker. Zion's great for just going deep. He's a little fast dude. You get him in space. You get him the ball in space, he can do stuff. But you got to get him in space where he's by himself, and then he can start, shaking and running. You don't use him as a lead blocker when you got a 6'4" and a 6'6" dude on your roster. What are we doing here? It's little decisions like that made me say, yep, I cannot wait till the new OC comes in and turns this around. Because the bigger thing is, what we need is someone that's going to continue to call the pass plays we called and tell the quarterback to throw the ball. That's it. Because I've seen where the pocket was looking good. It was like, okay, you got just enough time. Lead your receiver. Lead your receiver. Lead your receiver. I'm screaming on the sideline, and the LSU dude behind me is cracking up. He's like, man, he's not going to throw the ball. I was like, look, let me have this. And he was just dying. I'm just like, let me have this. And I'm just screaming, throw it, throw it, throw it, throw it. And I'm watching the routes. And I'm like, there's a dude, if you hit him, if you throw it at this moment, boom, you've got to catch. And he can fall down. He can keep running. The J.J. Hester throw is still the one I'm just like, you get him on double moves like that often because that's how big he is and how fast he is. The only reason why he fell down there is because the corner grabbed him because he saw that he was dusted. Like, you see him when he does the move and he runs past the guy. You see the guy grab him and he keeps up with him. At that point, Hester gets that catch and you're like, why don't we do more of that? Please. I would like more of that. Get him on a deep out route, something. Now, the one time he actually tried to hit him on a deep hitch, it almost got picked. But it's like, that's the stuff we need more of. But I think we'll get a lot more of that coming next season, Coop. Defense-wise, though, first half was there. Eli got cooked twice. Feel bad for him, but he's a freshman. They watched tape. They found ways to try to get around him, get him wide side. That one catch, though, you can't do anything about that.
No,
no. There's literally nothing you do. That's like Ryan Williams' catch. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, it's at that point in that situation, your alternate option is to grab onto him and cause pass interference. I mean, like that's literally it. But that's not how Eli plays. So, again, your freshman gave up a play. That I mean, it is what it is. But defensive wise, nobody's really thrown the ball at us. Nobody's really thrown the ball at us, with any big consistency. Everybody's wanted to spread us around. Auburn did more of it than most others did at throughout the rest of the year. I mean, even Tennessee didn't really bomb it. They had another. Thornton had the exact same play situation that happened against us with his big long touchdown. Happened this week, against Vanderbilt. The safety, except for the safety with us, it was Bowman, and he committed to the line and didn't have any inside coverage help. And I believe at that point that was Kanai, and so Kanai got cooked. Well, that happened again. But outside of that, man, it's LSU decided they were going to throw the ball, and it was going to happen. And yeah, I've seen you guys in the chat. I'm not going to lie. Nussmeier today is probably in a crap ton of pain. And I think Brian Kelly probably went a little, and I'm still in this idea from the Scoop guys in the post game, but they did a little Bud Kilmer. Get in there, give him a big old shot in his shoulder. He's got how many weeks to heal? Let's go do it. He has 3 or 4 weeks to heal, before he has to play again. So they shot him up, and that first throw deep, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because, I mean, I was thinking like, dude might have had a broken clavicle, a collarbone, separated shoulder at minimum. And so I got to think today that it's probably a separated shoulder situation.
Yep.
And he got shot up, and he came back in, and he balled out.
The way that he got hit, I mean, first G-Baby got him on that fumble, which was he's had an exceptional season. Shout out to him. Grayson Halton has had an exceptional season. This was the D lineman that we was hoping that he would turn out to be.
Yep.
And yeah, he has been coming out of nowhere. Ran through that bad boy, got the fumble, and then I love how R. Mason was already like still in pursuit, because that's the thing about it. If you've watched any of my recruiting videos, especially around defensive players, the one thing I point out that I've recognized that we search after dudes is ones that don't stop going. Like their motor is constant. Even if the ball looks like it may be dead, they're still racing after the ball. And so Coop, I noticed that R. Mason didn't stop. He kept chasing him, jumped over the dude, picked up the fumble, ran in for a touchdown. That's what happens if you keep pursuing, because I can't think of what game I was watching, but there was a fumble and nobody realized that there was a fumble in front of them. And then eventually the team jumped on it. I can't think of which game it was, but you see that when players kind of just stop. They're like, okay, the play's over, I'm not going to do anything. No, he kept going, grabbed it, scooped that bad boy up, boom, goes in. If anything, R. Mason may have made himself some money with a chance of going pro. I don't see him going pro yet, but if he does, I wouldn't blame him, because I think he just made himself some money.
Yeah,
with the way he played. I think they may grade him. The only problem is he's shorter, but they still may grade him day 2, like late day 2, early day 3. He may be intrigued, but I still feel like he may come back.
I think that R. Mason Thomas and G-Baby, a couple guys on those lines, that's going to be the same situation. We're gonna have to go talk to the donors and say, hey, we want to keep these guys here. I think that if we can do this, if you can return back, let's just be honest with you. If you can bring back R. Mason, G-Baby, if Dominic Williams decides that he wants to stick around, you go in with David Stone and Jaden, as sophomores, a full entire year in the strength and conditioning program. I mean, this defensive line is going to be salty again next year, and I really, really do believe that, because I also think that you've got some more of these younger edge guys that are starting to kind of get there body wise, and then knowledge of the system. A Heim and a Wine are 2 guys that are just hybrid freaks that I think are big time guys. And then you get guys who Danny Okoye, Nigel Smith. These guys are all going to have roles next year. So we've got some stuff now with R. Mason, Jay. I mean, I think that R. Mason needs another year, and I selfishly want him to come back for another year. I'd like to see him put a good full season, of tape out there. This year, everybody knows. I mean, there's a chance he's going to be on the All SEC team. It's just where. I think that he is in the top 5 in the SEC in sacks, and I'll look at that here in a second. But you got a good chance for that. Now, you're going to have to pony up some money, and it just is what it is. And if you can pony up some money and get some people to, make it worth their while to return, there's nothing bad about that.
Woo-wee! Yep, that can't at all. Linebackers, this was probably one of the more mediocre games I saw out of them. Not that they didn't play, that they played bad. It just was not at the level that I was expecting. I felt like we were out of place in a few spots, especially when we were hitting the running backs. We weren't there to stuff the run most of the game, but it appears that scheme-wise we were trying to focus more on the pass. And so that's how Caden Durham gets that big run, and they start to just really run it down their throat like they did. And we still haven't given up 100 yards to a running back this season, though, which is really weird to me.
But I will say, Jay, I mean, I think that he was averaging. I mean, they were averaging like 3 yards a carry prior to that big run by Durham. So this team still was holding him down. It was just like the intense that extra edge our defense didn't have that. But again, they didn't. They were spreading it out sideline to sideline. You had Kobe, you had Kip, you had Danny. You even saw Lewis in there a little bit later. But they were trying to stretch us out, and they're putting those linebackers, eyes side to side, side to side, side to side. And I saw it just wearing them down because that's hard, especially when you're mentally realizing again that you probably aren't winning this game unless you guys can score a couple touchdowns, cause a couple turnovers, and they just didn't do it after he came back in from being injured.
Nope, they did not at all. But I'll say this: we got some good pressure. I didn't even check the PFF stuff because I was in the hotel trying to get my life together so I can get ready for my flight. So I ate breakfast with my daughter and my family, which I slowed everybody up because I had to get that video out for y'all. Make sure I had that content ready, especially because we're in the midst of still a coaching hunt.
I'm looking but overall, right here, Jay, I don't know if I'm frozen or you're frozen, so you guys appreciate you all hanging out with us.
I think we lost you, Coop. Or did y'all lose me? Yep, we lost you, Coop, because I can still see myself on the YouTube video. So we'll wait till Coop gets back. It looks like his interwebs are acting a little bit on the weird side. We'll bring him back in just a moment. But, hey, thank y'all for pulling up, hit the like button, new to the channel, subscribe, rate us, review us, give us 5. And I think we just got a super chat. David, thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. Thank you for the $5. We appreciate the belly laugh that you sent to the people. And he has made his valiant return. The interwebs is acting up for you right now, Coop.
I guess so.
Is it storming up there?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. All right.
But I did want to say, so yeah, you've got Danny Stutzman, 110 tackles. He's number 4 in the SEC, behind 2 of the kids from Mississippi State. And then the Weeks kid from LSU, and then you've got R. Mason at number 4, with 9 sacks. So number 4 in the SEC with 9 sacks. So yeah,
it's huge. Grade-wise, I just looked at our defense still has a grade of 91. I'm gonna do this because I'm really curious to what this looks like in all of college football. Actually, we're gonna take FCS off, but in FBS. Defensive grade, we are a 91, which puts us 12th in the country. Defensive grade. Our run defense grade is a 94.4 by PFF. That's number 3 in the country. Coverage grade, 77, which ain't very high. That's probably in the bottom. Probably that's number 82. So that's how that finished out. Raw stats. We'll do raw stats real quick, and we're gonna do a full. We'll do a full recap of the season, but just quickly, 22nd in the country in total defense as far as yards per game for Oklahoma. 22nd in the country. Would you expect that as bad as this season's been? 22nd, Coop.
What does that look like if you have like an average offense?
Right. Just mediocre. Just
if you're in the 80s, 70s and 80s, in the offensive statistics.
That's 5th in the SEC. The defense is legitimate. It's not perfect, but it's legitimate. In a lot of situations with our defense is our offense has put them in bad situations. That's really what it is. Defense hasn't been perfect. But anyway, All right, so let's talk about some changes. It's time to start talking about the adjustments y'all are about to see. We're about to see some big stuff happen. First and foremost, your first decommitment. You've got Marcus Harris, the wide receiver out of California. He has hit the decommitment pool. Now, granted, one of the things that was pointed out to me by someone not too long ago is he's out of Mater Dei, the guy out of California, Santa Ana, California, top. Let me see him go put up his grade stuff for y'all to look at. Oh, there it is. Boom. We'll change to this tab. This is Marcus, 5'11", 185, 4-star, consensus composite 4, top 350 player in the country. He's out. He decommitted. And what I've heard is that he is friends with Cortez Mills, in which when you talk about our guy Cortez Mills, prediction was put in that he is going to most likely flip to Nebraska. Why? Yep. Nebraska needs wide receivers in the worst way. And they've been courting him for a while. Remember, they had Malachi Coleman that just left. And I think a couple of others are expected out of Nebraska to hit the portal. So they're paying up for guys. That's basically what's happening. They need wide receivers. And I think that since Cortez Mills is most likely going to go with Marcus, in which that's actually what I need to find real quick. Had it open and closed it on accident. So my bad.
Yeah, these two guys on an official visit to OU got really, really close. And, you know, they became good friends. And and so, I mean, yeah, Nebraska has a up-and-coming NIL collective. They've got, they've got a good-looking plan going on. You know, with Raiola going into his sophomore year, you know, he's going to get better. And so, yeah, they're going to try to get him with as many weapons as they can because, I mean, you look at the Big Ten and it's not. I mean, listen, there's you got Oregon. You saw Ohio State in a rivalry game with really no reason to lose. And so Nebraska sees that, you know, this might be the opportunity and the time to get in here because, you know, what does Ryan Day look like? Because I mean, like he may be coaching for his career in that first playoff game. He may need a couple playoff victories in order to get in there and to stick around because that's 4. Is that 4 in a row to Michigan now?
Yes, it's 4-0.
Yes. Yeah, because I think that there was one of their seniors during the flag planting situation this weekend. You know, they had the stat up that he was 0-4 versus Michigan in his time at Ohio State. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not, you don't want that to happen to you. That's kind of one of those things, right? You don't want that to happen to you, and it unfortunately is. So Mills on there, and then of course the big one that dropped. Let me get that for y'all really quick. Gotta love that boom, 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 boom. Here you go, Coop. Jaquez Petaway has told the people that he is hitting the transfer portal. My expectation is he's probably going to go home. I'm expecting him to go back to Houston, if you want me to be absolutely honest. Now, it could be other schools. Jaquez Petaway was really good, top 100. I think he was a top 150 player in the country coming in.
Yeah. Very. I mean, listen.
He's good. He's good.
They were running.
I hate to see him go.
Yeah, they were running some of the old. Oh gosh, what was it? Down in Texas, they were showing a bunch of track times from when Caden Durham was a sophomore, and it was a sophomore or freshman or whatever. And Jaquez Petaway was right up there. I mean, he's a fast guy. I just, sometimes you just don't work out at a program, and that last little glimpse of that last ditch effort against Tennessee we all thought, all right, here we go. This is it. Jaquez Petaway has, this is his time to get out there. I don't know. Sometimes, and I think that there's going to be a lot of guys on this roster that they just need fresh starts. And
agreed.
This is not Jaquez Petaway is probably not going to go down to Texas State. He's, the guys that we send on their way. These guys are most likely going to go to smaller, G5 and smaller P4, teams.
Well,
so
see, that was the old us. That was when Brent Venables first came in and started cleaning house. Now the guys that they brought in, if they're leaving, they're probably going to another P4 program, right? We're actually recruiting really good dudes. Petaway's one of those dudes that's going to be one of them that I expect. And Jason, Hall of Fame, was good, Jason. Thank you. He says, Aggies are all over Petaway. I totally could see that. I can totally see that Pet is going to be one that I can see him going to Texas A&M. I mean, he's from the Houston area. It's not that far. That makes sense. Go for it. Right now, that's your first two. That is the first two dominoes that have really hit. And I say that more is going to happen. I'm waiting right now for confirmation on about 5.
Yeah.
And if they happen, we'll talk about that here. And there's a very good chance that it's going to happen over the next, I'd say, 30 minutes while we're kicking it. But Coop, I warned a lot of you, and I've seen a couple people saying here and ask the questions about our bad season, blah, blah, blah. Believe me when I say, if Nebraska's still pulling players, Florida's still pulling players, all these teams still pulling players, and they had seasons roughly around like us, I'm not sure what makes y'all think anything's going to change on our end. A lot of these kids see the opportunity to play not only early in the SEC, but go out there and be the ones to make the change because they know if they go out there and make this change, hey, that makes them look real good. Our defense is already there. We just need a quarterback that's willing to throw the ball. Could Jackson Arnold do it with the new OC? Maybe. Could Michael Hawkins be that guy that does it? Maybe. Do we transfer in a dude to do it? Maybe. Unfortunately, there really isn't an answer right now. Now, for me, I want the new OC to make Michael Hawkins into a beast. That's what I want. Make him into a monster of a quarterback. He makes decisions. He's willing to throw it. The good thing is the offensive line got better as the season progressed. They just wasn't fully healthy. Still got the 2 Jakes. They return. Boom. If not, Isaiah Autry-Dent's ready. He's out of his freshman year. Now he's going to go out there. He ain't supposed about to play. Adding with Autry-Dent, I don't care who else is going to be next tackle. You may actually grab one out of the portal. But I think interior with EPL, Waywu, Sexton. I mean, Ozida. You put Ozida there with Waywu and EPL and BJ Brooks. We got a lot of big dudes. Like, they're all in the 320 range, and they're athletic enough. They're just young. We ain't going to be that next year. That's the only thing that's good. We won't be as young as we were coming in this year. And if we don't lose 5 wide receivers, which, Coop, did you have that on your bingo card? Because I didn't.
6.
I didn't have 6. Well, yeah, 6 now. I mean, with my boy Kearney, with Zion, I need Zion healthy. Because he can block. He can block. And Primetime Vari asks, what do you think about Mitchell not getting any playing time? BV talked about him in one of his pressers at the beginning of the season that he had some growing up to do. Remember, he's only 17 years old. That might be why you didn't see him. He may not have hit that stride of being mature enough on the field. It's probably the best way. He was in Baton Rouge, though. I saw him dressed out. I think that's the first game I saw him on the road in the road games I went to. I didn't go to Missouri, so I don't know. But I didn't see him at Ole Miss. I didn't see him at Auburn. He very well could have been there, but I don't recall seeing him. But I saw his big self walking around that sideline against LSU. If he gets it going, he goes to class, he does what he needs to do, he's gonna make it happen. That's all we're now waiting for. Now we're waiting for the official announcement for this OC.
Yeah.
Because once we know who the OC is, Coop, then we can make a determining factor of honestly what players are going to be around. because that's where my question is. I know there's going to be a massive amount. There's going to be a massive amount of exodus of players leaving. But the players leaving, the determining factor for a lot of them will be whoever the OC is.
Yeah.
It's not a situation where it's just going to be dudes. So a lot of these dudes, and if I'm correct, the players already know. So it's probably why you're starting to see some people leave now.
There's some of these guys like a Jaquez Petaway. I mean, you had situations where you just couldn't make it to the field. There were times that he did make it on the field, and his route running and his choices on where to run just didn't seem to run the concept that was how it was supposed to go. So I don't know if it's just you get into a spot where you can't feel you feel like you can't do anything right. All right. Well, yeah, maybe it is time for a good, because maybe somebody else needs a new digs here and wants to come this way. So, I think Jaquez, what did he have? Ended up with 6 catches in his career
season.
I want to say
he had like 15.
Okay, so like we're not. It's not like we're losing a ton. And listen, and I'll say this because I'll talk to you behind the in the green room about this.
16 catches for 157 yards.
Okay, so I think this is. Let's just get guys here that want to play. I mean, let's like that's it. Because how many of us at this point last year were ready for Farouk to not come back to the team? After the bowl game, a lot of us were frustrated with Farouk, and maybe never wanted to see him again. How you feel about that all year this year? He has the first explosive play. We all look at each other and we say, "Here we go." And then That's it. That's it for the season. And he came back and was more of a decoy, I think, in that it was in the Missouri game. And man, I just say this is I don't want to see any of these guys go, but people are going to leave. But wanting certain people to bounce, like it's just be careful because we all wanted Farouk gone, and we all would love to have him for the whole season this year. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Did you see that?
Oh. So, okay. The rumors are brewing, ladies and gentlemen. They're brewing. Should I say it? I think I'm going to say it.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, it's not us reporting it. It's Pete.
Pete Nakos from On 3 made a post. I think it's on the boards, so I may not be. I probably should not say this, just out of respect of the people.
There are people who are saying, "All right, here we go." There are people that are saying that Arbuckle's done and it's been done. There are people. I feel that Joe C must have had himself a conversation, and I know that we said this in our internal Discord, but I feel like Joe C with this whole offense coordinator thing, I think they went to Sam Presti and was like, "Hey, teach us your ways," because I don't know if anybody has a freaking clue about what's going on this OC search. I've had very, very connected people, and Jay, you have too. Said, "Hey, it's Arbuckle, it's done. It's here comes the announcement." Now we still have people saying, "I like a different guy to OU." Credible people who may have just said that to you, that you just read. So
all right, I'll go ahead and say it. Screw it. If I want to know, it's on the live. We'll say it. Dang, we got like 700 some people in here. What's good, y'all? I think y'all pulling up. It's kind of crazy. Joe Craddock appears to be flying up the charts right now.
The Tulane OC.
Yeah, Pete Nakos just reported he likes Joe Craddock to OU. Nothing's been announced officially. That's what we're waiting for, and we're kind of sticking around, and in theory, stalling because the anticipation is an announcement's going to happen probably while we are right here on the show. Craddock has a top. You know what? We'll do this. Shout out to my guy Stats by Popo. I'm gonna pull up the numbers that our guy has put together for us.
Yeah. Guys, I'll say this is I think that there's been a lot of misdirection with this OC hire for a lot of different reasons. And I don't think it's so that, screw you fans, we don't want you to know anything, but it's hard to negotiate like this when you're going after Stein or you're going after Koltonecki or Craddock, any of these guys, because these guys are using job opportunities to leverage other job opportunities. And I think that there's been a lot of conversation going on. Now, we saw Washington State's offense really just throw out a dud, and a lot of people could say, well, that's, same reason why we beat Florida State in the national championship in 2000. Is the whole, well, your OC is on his way out and he's distracted. So there were a lot of them. There's Washington State. They had a bad night. Well, so did Tulane on Friday. Was it Friday night or Thursday night? Tulane goes out to Memphis and they just kind of throw a little bit of stinker in there. So it's this, guys, is we do not need a top 10 offense in the country. We don't need that. That's not what this team needs. If you can put a top 50 offense out here with the way our defense played this year, there's a good chance they're better next year, the defense. So OU has narrowed it down to 3 names.
Did we get a notification on something?
Wouldn't expect an imminent announcement. Okay, so maybe this thing sits around here for a few days. I don't know if we do know right here in the middle of the show. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not reading stuff off of boards because again, out of respect to OU Insider, 247 and Sooner Scoop, like I don't want to read stuff off the boards. Like that's their bread and butter, that's their life. That's that's how they get paid to do their jobs. But it seems like there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot. There's names, and there's lots of names out there. I think that you're going to. It says you got guys like Faulkner, Craddock, Arbuckle, and then everybody keeps on saying the mystery man. That is there somebody else out there that we are talking to that nobody's thought of. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody has tied that to him. So, I just say this: it's as an insider, this is a tough one. This is being protected at the highest ranks.
Yeah, it is. It is. Let me see if I can find a way to get Jason in here. He wants to come hang out with us for a minute as we kind of wait. I
did see that somebody changed Ben Arbuckle's Wikipedia to the University of Oklahoma OC.
I'm seeing that Arbuckle's getting that too. So the 3 names, I see Buster Faulkner, someone's put in here. We still got with the Dan Mullins mystery. He's potentially still a mystery in this. I don't know what the heck is going on with the Dan Mullen situation, mainly because we don't know what the heck's going on with Dan Mullen. He is, all over the place. Especially because none of us knows what the heck's actually happening with him.
They did misspell university in the Wikipedia. What was it? Untiversity.
Yeah, Untiversity.
Maybe he works like there. Uniform. I just don't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, that Untiversity is pretty funny.
But yeah, so no, there is no OC agreed upon yet.
No, we don't have anybody announced. There's nothing announced yet, but I'm going to tell y'all there's probably going to be an announcement. Hopefully it happens while we're here. We got about 10, 15 minutes as we're waiting for all of this stuff to start dropping. The strategy's changing.
I'll say this. Guys, this staff knows every single bit about what's going on. This staff knows the frustration. Hey, listen, this is what they've done. This is their whole lives, is building this program, and to go out and go into multiple games to where you're like, we're not winning this one. That's not what any of these guys signed up for. And like I said, sometimes it's just you just get into a spot where you kind of go, well, we are going to have to, get new people, new faces, new concepts, because you can have good coaches who it's just over for them. They need a new, fresh start. Maybe that happens. That's why everybody enjoyed what the Saban rehabilitation project was. He brought all these coaches who, look at Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian's guy's probably, one bad choice away from being out of college football. And now he's, the head coach of Texas and number one in the SEC this year, first year in. So there's a lot of change that's going to happen, and this staff, the people who are sticking around, Venables is not going anywhere this year. So if that's on your bingo card for get rid of Venables, that ain't happening. But they know. He knows now that this decision is probably going to be the dictation, what will dictate his tenure here at Oklahoma. This next time.
Brought Jason in here from Hall of Fame. What's going on, man?
Jason,
what's up, fellas? Thanks for having me.
Good evening. No problem, man. Let's jump in here to the end of it. We ain't got much. We ain't got much going on. We're waiting. We're here on the head coaching watch. We're here on the transfer decommit watch because there's a lot of it, and you're seeing a lot of players go up and down. And I mentioned it earlier to everybody. I expect our class is probably going to stay about what it is, but we're going to see some people have to leave. We're going to have to get down to 105. We ain't got much choice. But I thought you mentioned Petaway to over to Aggies, huh?
Yeah, you keep kind of hearing that, and especially it makes a lot of sense. I think somebody was talking about it, that he's got a cousin that's over there at A&M right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Him being from the area, it's about 100 miles, I think, from Houston. Something
roughly.
Somewhere in that area.
Closer than Norman.
Yeah, definitely closer than Norman. And they need receivers. They need receivers too. So it's an issue that they've had there. I don't know whatever happened with the guy here. I really felt like Petaway was going to be really good for us after what we saw from him in the Tennessee game. So whatever happened, clearly there's something up there.
No, there is, and it's going to be options for him. He's one that he's good. He's not
good. Fast.
We're not talking about a player that's bad. He's a good one, and it hurts to see him go top 100 player. I didn't want to see him hit the portal, while at the same time I understood. I think one though that was also interesting to me was that our boy Derek LeBlanc hit the portal again.
Hit the portal?
Yeah,
saw that earlier too.
And Ricardo's his pops is still big OU guy, and so if they would, I think that door opens up if he, if the staff wants him. Now, is it? Do you start making these big choices like this yet? Because I really think that you need to have these conversations with, guys like Dominic Williams, R. Mason, you can't expect them to have these decisions made yet. They just literally finished playing hours ago. So, but that's probably going to be, what your portal and, recruiting tactics are for the defensive line. You still need some bodies, I think. Yep. I'd like to be able to go get another guy like a DJ Terry, somebody who's a big body and a little bit of a plugger, because, I like the upfield movements and I like the ability for Jaden Jackson to stay in there. But yeah, I think you need another, bigger body, not just a quicker body. Is Otani available? Yeah. Hey, listen.
Yes. With that, real quick, OU Mike, thank you so much for the $20. Boomer, sooner to you back. We appreciate that support. Sir. Warren, shout out to you for the $19.99. Thank you for your first super chat. We appreciate that with the hippo dancing around. We appreciate it. Sorry, go back to that, Coop, what you were about to jump into.
Yeah. I mean, long story short, listen, I think that there's, whether it's Craddock, whether it's Arbuckle, whether whoever it ends up being, there's so many different things about each one of these guys that I think that are really great. I really do enjoy each one of their offenses. It looks like they have an idea and a plan and an identity. And, with what we're kind of hoping for is that they bring some allure and that people want to go play for these systems, because you're going to need some folks out of the transfer portal on the skill position. I don't know if you can really say that there is one person, wide receiver wise, if they all decided to come back, is there any of them that you can truly count on health wise? Farouk's foot has had this thing multiple times. Right. The Anderson family, they're just snake bitten, and I hate it for them. But I mean, he has been in and out quite a bit. Jaden Gibson, he had an injury that it's not going to be just an absolute, just give it 10 to 12 months and he's going to be ready to rock. Like, that's going to be an injury that it's going to take some time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's going to take some time to come back from. Burks, if he comes back, I'd probably ask him to, he's probably going to have to renegotiate that NIL contract too. I think he was planning on being in the NFL at this point. Man, you're going to have to go get some people. So can they bring players with them? Can Craddock bring in Mensa? Can Mateer come this way also? Quarterbacks wise, I would say that if I had to bet on one guy to stay, it's Hawkins. I think Jackson Arnold's one of those guys who just needs a new atmosphere, but he made a comment after the game last night that he doesn't see, any reason why he needs to leave. So is it just good coaching? We've seen really, really, really bad performances and bad outputs by quarterbacks who get a good coach, and all of a sudden the light turns on for them.
Yeah, that's true. Jason, let's talk about the game a little bit. I mean, I'm waiting for the next announcement to come down. It appears one may be coming up in the next couple of moments. I'm going to keep my eyes open for that. But how you feel about the game, man?
Man, it's tough, right? I think you saw some breakdowns from the defense a little bit, but it was more, to me, it felt like they just went back to the old attack instead of what they were doing against Alabama, which I don't really understand. It feels like you would have wanted to kind of make somebody show that they could stop what you were doing before. They did try to run the ball, but it didn't seem like they were doing it the same way. It wasn't a lot of the same formations, movement, all that stuff. It did, I think I said last night with K. Chris and those guys that first thing that it told me was that it was pretty clear that Kevin John's fingerprints were definitely all over that game plan from the Alabama game. So I just felt like they went back to it for whatever reason. I'm not sure why though. And I know a lot of us had talked about, you're going to have to throw the ball deep, and there were some openings for them to throw the ball deep in this game, and they just didn't really take those openings. So had it not been for that, it felt like they might be going to start leaning on them a little bit if they hadn't given up that touchdown return, when they took the lead.
Yeah,
and then
we would score and then give up our first return for a touchdown this season, like right behind it, right? And that like just the luck.
Hey,
That's
you
just
got.
the
I
luck.
mean, LSU could have half-assed that and just been okay with where they were. They were in it last night. I mean, it looked like their team was ready to go and they were ready to play. And I mean, whether it means getting shot up and putting your your immediate future on hold, but
Right.
did you guys also see Kevin Concepcion, the big wide receiver from NC State, just hit the portal too?
Nice.
124 catches, 1,600 yards, and 18 touchdowns in his 2 seasons at NC State.
Right. Hold a second. Scott, thank you so much for the $2. We appreciate it. NIL is the death of college football. I disagree. I think it's the best part about it now because now you're seeing a lot of what people want is parity. But the funny thing is, this is the thing I've learned about people when it comes to parity. People don't actually want parity. They just want their team to have the ability to be dominant. That's it. They don't actually care about parity. They care about their own team actually being dominant.
Them.
Yeah. They want it as long as it benefits them, they're happy. Yes. I like parity all across the board because it means better football. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I feel like it's I don't know, man. To me, it's never been about parity. I don't know how long it stays parity wise because I think that the money separation is about to really happen. This was the first year that you had the big payments that were going to the SEC and the Big Ten, and next year, you're going to have your profit share or the revenue share deal, but that doesn't change anything when it comes to NIL. So the rich are going to continue to get richer, but I think right now you do have an opportunity to see some teams that you probably wouldn't have before kind of make a move here. And by saying that, I say probably like an ACC team or possibly a Big 12 team, but although I don't see that really right now. Not this year anyway. But I don't think that – I think the NIL means parity today. It doesn't necessarily mean parity going down, going forward. In fact, I think it goes further away from that than anything.
Nope, it won't be long term. It's going to be for today. But and one thing to remember – most of this that's going down right now, this is going to be our last season of a lot of spending. Like this is going to be the all-out super free agency because starting next year, once first the House versus the NCAA gets settled and they make a final decision there, you're going to see a lot of NIL collectives get either dissolved or it's going to be like tapered down. So with that $20 million cap everybody's going to have, that's it. And it's going to stay like that until the next TV deal hits. Then they're going to be able to up it again, just like they do in the NFL. And so you're not going to be hearing about these schools putting out $25, $30 million. Everybody's going to put out 20. It's going to be all about you just paying for yours. And we'll see who actually earns it. And probably every school is going to institute a
tier system kind of
tiered system where it's going to grow over each year. And to be honest, I love it. That gives me content to do, gives me stuff to talk about, fun stuff to keep up with. Dog, that's the best part that's happening in this game. I know a lot of y'all don't like it. Y'all don't like knowing because a lot of y'all like control, so you like to know what's going to happen to you every day. I don't. I love chaos. Give me chaos. But hey, Concepcion, being in the portal, guys, hey, man, pick up the phone.
Hey, you should definitely make that phone call.
That's a phone call you make. Mainly because, like I told y'all before, we're going to lose people. Everybody's going to lose people. Everybody's got to get down to 105, baby. 85 scholarship, 105 total. Everybody has to get down. We're not the only ones. And so because of that, it ain't going to be that big of a deal as people think. It's going to be pretty. It's going to be when everybody start losing players and then we all go in there and start shopping for the people we want, don't be surprised if this class looks nasty in the next 2 days. Just keep that in mind. When this class looks different, I want y'all to come in here and say, Jay, you were right. I did not realize what you was talking about. And I'm going to tell you, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Well, and I mean, we keep hearing that there's money out there, extra money to be spent on Oklahoma players that are going to be, 5 or 6 like impact guys. Concepcion would kind of fit that bill, right? I think that there's going to be guys out there that you're going to have opportunities. You keep hearing about guys like what's his name at USC, the kick returner.
Is that Deion Branch? Zachariah Branch.
Zachariah Branch. Yeah, I just lost it right there for a second. But
yeah, I think Deion Branch. I don't know why I think about the Patriots. Actually, I had a conversation with
Branch like 5 minutes ago. Is a stud, though. I mean, and it doesn't seem like he's been overly happy with Lincoln and his ability to get his role. I think that's pretty good. So, look, I think that there's opportunities out there to go get some guys. I hope that they keep some of these guys around. It almost feels like you're destined to see some of them, at least some of them, leave. We just already seen Petaway, but go ahead. What do you got?
More's going to happen. Real quick, Jimmy, 5'11", is he a slot outside wide receiver or a slot? Yes. That's what Concepcion is. He's one of those dudes.
He's that guy.
Luther Burden is 5'10". Just know that. And Luther Burden's pretty beastly. It don't matter. Dude just finds a way to get open and he makes catches. So that's all that matters, right? Joe S., thank you so much for the $4.99. We appreciate the donation to the channel. Thanks a bunch. Somebody else mentioned a pretty good question in here. Hold a second. Yeah, I see my college guy in here is dooming as usual, so we'll just scroll right past that one. There was a question in here that I tried to catch, but the comments coming in. So thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button, new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Dominic, my boy Dominic hit up here. Will the OC hire automatically fix the wide receiver room? Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, there's a good chance that whoever comes in as OC is probably going to bring somebody with them. Probably bring a quarterback, maybe some wide receivers too. And if they bring in guys that had some numbers that get y'all excited, is there a reason to complain? Is there a reason to be upset?
And listen, and I remain this way too. Petaway he just didn't progress. You saw Kearney and Carry-On play, Reagan's play, Raggins, whatever we want to say. You saw those guys, like Reagan.
Like Cajun,
yeah.
Yes.
So you saw all these guys come in, and it's hard. Once again, it's hard when you're going to try to determine where a problem is. If you have a car issue, if the car's not starting, you're not going to go to the back and check out the tailpipe, right? Like, you at least have an idea that the car's not starting. But like, if the whole damn thing is just gone, there's so many places to try to find out, like, where do you start? And I think this wide receiver room, no, he cannot fix health. Now, can the guy go get somebody, bring somebody in? Sure. But I don't think that the wide receiver room was necessarily broken. I think that they were all extremely young. There were guys running wide open multiple times a game, and the quarterbacks were just not hitting them. I think that the issues, wide receiver room being an issue, that's just silly to me, because you got your top 6 guys out. Every single one of those guys are still there. They still want, they were there on the sideline. They were there, with the team. And so I don't think that that's a situation where that's fair to say that, like, I've seen people taking shots at EJ. Like, your top 6 receivers. Like, you saw teams not do very well with their top receiver out. You saw Ole Miss not do well with their top receiver out. You saw other teams with top receivers, out of the game. And it severely, it just inhibits everything about it. Plus, you throw in the shitty offensive play calling schemes. And then your quarterback can't throw the ball. And then your offensive line sucks too. So, like, there's no time to throw the wide receivers. The quarterback won't do it. How's it their fault? Now, is Raggins out, as a lead blocker on a tight end screen a good idea? Never. Not once. Not this year. Not when he's a senior. He's not. A Deion Burks, sure, but Deion can squat 400 and some odd pounds. So, I just say this is, the wide receiver room being broken had an injury situation to do with it, not so much coaching.
So, I want to ask this question: it feels like it's a signal right here with all these guys that are leaving that it may be that EJ's out the door. Is that, if they've indeed decided on somebody, it almost feels like EJ might be gone because both of his guys that, his top guys are in the portal, as we know, Harris and Cortez Mills. So
commits. They're not commits. They're not in the portal, but
decommits. Sorry.
Yeah. Harris is decommitted. Mills so far hasn't, which is really weird. I'm trying to figure out why he hasn't flipped, why that's not done. It probably will eventually, but no, we still got Manny Choice, which I like, and we still got Elijah Thomas, which I think is the best wide receiver in the class.
Agree.
I think Elijah's the best one in the class. I don't think EJ's gone. I don't think EJ has any type of chance of leaving. EJ had EJ lucked out with 5 dudes hurt.
That's not the case. So I was asking if that's what you're getting, because it almost felt that way when you got 2 of the guys that he's been really pushing for.
Oh no. I expected those 2 to decommit. They were on my bingo card to be gone, to be absolutely honest. I actually expected those 2 because I saw Mills when he went to Nebraska the first time. I was like, I think Mills is going to end up bouncing. He said he was locked in, but I knew that Nebraska was pushing for him because their wide receiver room with Raiola has not been good. And they need to get not only some recruits, but they also need to get some transfers. So I expect Nebraska to spend with getting Mills in. And if they can get Marcus Harris to follow him, they are boys. They probably may try to do it as the 2-man package. I don't know, though. I think Marcus Harris goes somewhere else. But I know Manny Choice and Elijah Thomas are the 2 that I care about. And then Grayson Harris, who plays baseball, he's 2-sport U. So I don't think he's gone at all. He's going to play baseball here as well as football. And if football doesn't work out, he's going to play baseball full time.
We talked about this earlier, too, on Coach Rick's show. The thought was like, man, why would you do that whenever there's only maybe one guy that's been getting better receivers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That goes by what, the rankings are and stuff like that at Ohio State. But aside from that, who's out recruiting this guy?
I mean, you're right. It's Hartline and it's him. Now, I also say this is if Nebraska, if the numbers that kind of get tossed around with what Nebraska is going to be pitching at Cortez Mills, like that's he can change his family's life like right now, and so we can still go after guys like go kick the tires on Andrew Marsh again, or go after and say, hey, Concepcion, what are we looking at here? You got 2 seasons left to play. What are you hoping for? Also, like I said, it's not that I don't expect to see 0 of these wide receivers hurt. And I saw somebody say that nobody has, or EJ hasn't developed anything. Remember going into last season that we thought Gavin Freeman was going to be, Gavin Freeman and Jilla Farouk were going to be our 2 best wide receivers. And then Nick Anderson, obviously pretty good, right? Double-digit touchdowns, was looked to be the part. Andrew Anthony before the Texas game on the way to 1,000 yards. 1,000 yards. He's projecting 1,000-yard receiving until he gets hurt versus Texas. So EJ has developed. You can't, but again, you got to give him some time. With a guy like with a guy like Carrion Carrion's a guy who's going to needs to work on his body. He needs to work on his body because he's just been able to outsize everybody in high school. Well, he's now been out of high school for less than a year. So let's give him a little bit more time. And they're not supposed to be expected to, do much this year anyway. So, I mean, just EJ he's done a great job. He's done a great job recruiting. Now, Cortez gets paid triple what he's getting paid here. He's going to go to Nebraska. And stuff about Harris, it sounds like it might have been mutual.
So, real quick, and you guys are talking about that Texas has out recruited him. No, they haven't. They've done better in the portal. But the big guys that they've gotten, which one of them is really like stepping? I mean, they got the guy from this year, but they've already lost some other guys. So to me, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that he's definitely the best guy out there, period, for wide receivers or whatever, but I'm just saying he's right up there with, if there's one guy that that you're going to probably rate above him, it's the guy at Ohio State. As far as the Texas guys, they've been mostly doing out of the portal. That's what Clark does. He didn't return hardly any production from last year. He went and got a bunch of guys.
4 portal guys. And you can do that with wide receivers. Wide receivers can bring in that. Heck, I'm looking at what Prime did over there at Colorado. He brings in LeJontay Wester, who has been a beast, and Will Shepherd, who's done really well for them as a third or fourth wide receiver option. All you got to do is have a quarterback that's willing to throw him the ball. And that's why we're getting an offensive coordinator who will do that for us. You can't expect these freshmen to walk out there and do all the work by themselves. That's where we ran into our biggest problem. You had Brennan Thompson, who was still younger, coming off of injuries. And, he was able to get some going, but you also was dealing with all the other injuries down the line. Now we have, like I said, we have 6 guys basically out. You were asking freshmen to do all of this. You want to know why Ryan Williams can do what he does? Not only he's an absurd athlete, but he also has starting grade wide receivers around him. Makes it easier for freshmen to go out there and just be themselves instead of trying to be that structured guy of, not of being everything. Ryan became everything because he was able to just freelance a lot of it, but you still have to respect the other guys. We ain't had that with a bunch of young dudes who's still trying to figure it out. They're still trying to learn the playbook. They're still trying to understand their assignments. They're trying to make sure that they get in space, make sure they block properly. They ain't bad. I know that EJ has been training them up, but EJ also thought he was going to have 3 dudes over 6'4" playing on a regular basis with a 5'10" dude that's fast and be good. And that's not even including Farouk. That was just me including Nick, Gibb. You're probably going to see more J.J. Hester because whenever they throw him to him deep, he seems to catch it. He's caught a 50 and a 60-yarder. Then he caught an 80-yard. Was that 80 or 90?
90.
90.
It was an 86.
90-yarder.
Whatever.
So it's funny. I'll put it this way. A lot of people in there are wondering about a lot of the starters on this team. Don't. I promise you. Good. Promise you. We're losing depth.
Yeah,
which is because we're going to have to lose it anyway because we need to get down in the numbers. We're not going to have enough seniors leaving this season.
Right.
The one room we can afford it, wide receiver right now. Those dudes just got to get healthy. Give them a full year. So next spring, we'll know. And the good thing is you got a second portal coming up anyway. So when the portal hits now, you'll probably see us go grab some people, spend some money, get some big players. And when we do that, please make sure you come in here and thank me for it, for reminding you all that was going to happen.
You're welcome. So, but no, and also the people that are saying that they're not out there developing this talent or whatever. Does nobody remember what Jaden Gibson was doing at the start of last year? Like during the spring game, he couldn't catch a cold. By the end of the season, the dude was an alpha male. Had
Catching
5
passes, breaking tackles,
like 13 catches.
Yeah, catching, touchdown. I mean, it was Nick 6 as well because people didn't believe in Nick either initially.
I know. He'd been hurt the year before. Nobody really knew about him. Nobody was really talking about him. They were mad because they thought that he was the one that wrote the rap that got Cale Gundy fired. You know what I mean? Or whatever. So, and then all of a sudden he goes out and leads the team in touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah. And I also think, Andrew Anthony did come from Michigan. I saw somebody say that. But Andrew Anthony also had like 10 catches, maybe not even that, at Michigan. And then he came here and working with EJ, he turned into the number 1 wide receiver. Yep. So,
he made the team when he got hurt, right?
It's like I said, I've said this. Like, do I like this season? No. I hate every single bit about this season. But I think that when we look back on this, hopefully you go, well, listen, if all those guys are here, we struggle through a piss poor offensive scheme all year long, wondering what's wrong with our offensive line, what's wrong with our quarterback, and we may not make an offensive coordinator change this year because I think that Seth does good enough with all those wide receivers healthy. I think he does good enough to still be here. And so, maybe that is a blessing in disguise because that's one thing that when you couldn't scheme yourself out of a shoebox, then that's pretty telling and you need a bounce. And especially seeing what Joe John Finley has done because Joe John's never called plays, correct? And he's doing a decent job at it. Now, players still gotta do it. And I didn't say he's doing a fantastic job or he is, should be looked at as the OC going forward or anything like that. I just think this is, he did pretty well for what he had to work with in his first time calling plays. coming in after that. And that's another thing with these wide receivers. You had 2 different schemes going in the same year as your freshman year. So you're still trying to figure out where your class is, for third hour, and trying to figure the playbook out, and trying to realize that, you know what, I expected to, maybe get 10 snaps, 15 snaps a game. Nope, you're running 65.
Right. So, okay. We've been going for about 120. We're waiting on this OC hire. I know it's done. That's what we're waiting for them to get the official announcement. And y'all know me on here. I don't announce things if it's not announced by the official people first.
Doesn't need to be
I love that. This is my favorite thing about this young gentleman right here. We're gonna look at this tweet real quick. I want the people to see this from our defensive line commit. Y'all see that? That's a lock. My man's locked in.
I love it.
Trent Wilson's locked in. That's all that matters. All right, well, once we get an announcement, what are we doing here? Why are we taking so long to get this done? Let's go ahead and just watch. The minute that we jump off of here, they're going to be like, the article's going to go up.
That's right. That's right. Let's see.
Watch.
I'm refreshing every 2 seconds myself there, Jay.
Yeah, we're all doing that like nonstop, just waiting for something official to populate. Because why?
And again, just so that everybody knows, nothing has been announced. From what it sounds like, is this entire OC search has been shrouded in such mystery that it's anybody who is saying that it's a done deal. Until you see it from the university, it doesn't feel like it's a done deal, especially with other college. It's not like we're having conversations with these guys and we're just not liking it. So it's like trying to pick out which these guys are being talked to by multiple different universities also. I think that with Arbuckle, there was a lot of people, from Utah talking with him. Craddock was was tied to the Florida State job until Gus Malzahn just up and bows out as a head coach and says, "I'll come be a OC." Yeah, I mean, it's a mystery. Is it done? I was heard that it was done. But then,
yeah, Mason, thanks for the $199. We were told it was done. We're just waiting for them to tell us who it is. But go ahead, Coop. You heard it was done. I heard it was done.
Yeah,
I heard it was done. So
looks like it is.
Now, I also
just gotta wait for them to announce it.
Yeah, there's the staff knows that they have to have somebody in here ASAP. Like, this is probably the last free day that they have. If
no later than tomorrow, right? It has to be by tomorrow, doesn't it?
No, I'd say Tuesday's the latest. And I say Tuesday's the latest because that's when you really need to make sure that you're wrapping up your recruiting class for Wednesday signing. Because that's the one thing that we do here is that when BV wants, if you're going to commit here, they want everybody signed at the early. That way they're doing no more recruiting and they can focus on ball for the entire, spring side of things. And they want to get as many people in as early and enrollee as possible for one reason only. They want them to be able to play potentially beginning of the season. Now, you don't want a whole bunch of young dudes. Put it this way, no team in college football likes going out there with all freshmen anywhere. You want to have a mixture of experience with youth that have played because this game moves fast. And it moves much faster depending on your conference. Big Ten and SEC, they move really fast. And you're dealing with a lot of big dudes, so you got to go. So to me, I honestly, I'm going to give y'all my last prediction on this one. I am really thinking between Craddock and one name that's been floating around on the internet has been Buster Faulkner, OC over there at Georgia Tech. Now, I don't know what offense Buster would run. I know he wants to pass the ball a lot more, but he's kind of limited because he's at Georgia Tech.
They don't let him do it at Georgia Tech. The offensive line. The head coach is an O-line guy, right? So he just wants to pound the rock.
And we saw Haynes King.
Not like Haynes King can throw it either. So.
Yeah. So, but
that's what I mean, and that's what I'm saying. He's stuck at Georgia Tech, so it's not like he can throw it like he wants to, but he wants to throw it.
Exactly.
I want an OC who's going to be able to strengthen or go to the strengths of the quarterback. Not only just be your pure scheme, you got to be a system guy. Like let's see some ability to change. You know, when you saw Alabama go from Jalen Hurts to Tua, their whole entire offense just changed. Yeah. You know, they went to a completely different offense, and you have to have the capability to do that. But if you have the capability of changing your scheme around the quarterback, that means you probably have a good idea about how to do your job. And like I said earlier, we don't need a top 10 offense. And would it be fun? Yeah, it would be fun.
Sure.
I think we need a top 50 offense.
It almost feels like if you're top 20, top 15, top 10, it almost goes against playing complementary football. You know what I mean? You're just too many. It's either feast or famine all the time, and that doesn't take very long. You know, either way.
Yeah, somebody mentioned in here we got to fix the injuries, and I think that's just put everybody in bubble wrap. Don't play football.
Run the football.
Yeah. Listen, I love Faulkner. I would when I was watching that last night. You know, again, when Lincoln first came here, Lincoln Riley was a pure air raid guy, and Bob Stoops told him, "Well, listen, we will run the ball, and so whatever you need to do to get that figured out, let's make it happen." Now, it also didn't hurt that your two running backs are Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon. But you know, two guys who are playing in the NFL. Hey, I may have said this on your show, Jason. Who had Samaje Perine being a third down pass receiving and blocking running back in the NFL? Did any of us think that was going to be his role in the NFL long term?
I don't think anybody thought that. And I think if they say they were lying.
There, you sit on a throne of lies. No, I just listen. If you bring Faulkner in, yeah, that offense is not going to look like that Georgia Tech offense. But at the same time, he schemed up stuff, and that's what we've been missing. Is when you are not a good offense coordinator, you cannot scheme things up throughout the game to get somebody open. Yeah. You know, whenever they say you got to get Luther Burden involved in here, you got to get Kyron Lacey involved in here, you got to get Williams the ball here, you can scheme something up for them. It literally looks like I would not be surprised if they're looking through the play sheets trying to figure out what would we run right now. And when you don't know how much and again, you get into a rhythm with offense, you can be a little bit more exploratory. But if you can't get in a rhythm with your offense, then there's no chance. You can't build off of plays. You can't set up plays. You can't do any of that stuff.
And that's the point, is you have to build to these. If you need to get a receiver involved, or you need to get this guy or that guy involved, you have to build to that. You don't just say, okay, well, we're going to run a play for this guy. You got to make it look like something else you've done in order to scheme him open. And that's not what we've seen this year, right? We just haven't seen a lot of building off of a foundation of your plays. It looks different a lot of times,
Yeah,
it's kind of
really about scheming the guys open into spaces to where you can let them go do work. That's really what you want, and you gotta get. It's all about creativity, and it depends on the OC who's willing to be creative to do it, make it happen. And I think that's where we probably need to start looking at someone that can do that.
I like Craddock too. I mean, we're talking about a guy that they put up a ton of points. They were averaging over 40 points, and they run the football, not afraid to run the football. They're more pro style than anything else. I like Craddock a lot. I think I'd love it if what's been going around, that there could still be some kind of contact going on with Mullen. That might be helpful. I mean, we're talking about a guy. You want a guy that can develop quarterbacks? There he is.
There you go. Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like I just saw the Rivals guy for Utah saying that he thinks Arbuckle is heavily leaning in on Utah.
Yeah, you keep hearing it. It's been going on for 2 days.
That's been the word for the last couple of days, that it's been a lot of Arbuckle talk with him.
But guys, I will say this is, when it comes time to what we do here, or the paid sites with Parker and Josh and Colin Kennedy, you don't want to ever, we all want to know what the news is. For me, I like to know what the truth is. Like that's it. Is I like to know the truth, and I want to be able to have it sooner. That way, I can quell certain conversations and stuff. This thing has, until they announce it, it's not done. And so, I know that Matt Blackwell had posted that he thought Dan Mullen was a done deal, and then he thought Arbuckle was a done deal. I don't know if we will ever fully know what has all happened, in this OC search. We know that this thing's been going on for weeks. We know that conversations have been going on for weeks. We know that representatives were showing up the week after Seth was fired.
Yep.
We have no idea, and I'm not going to break anything. Even if somebody texts me right now and says, "Hey, it is Dan Mullen," I'm not going to be that person. Now, I'll tell you who I think it's going to be, but I don't speak in definitives around here, especially when it comes time to college football, because a phone call and a bigger check can change folks' minds pretty quickly.
Absolutely. He's not wrong.
All right, well, we're going to get out of here. It doesn't look like any of this stuff is going to drop. Supposedly, airplanes have been flying around. I think it's funny people say Emmett Jones is gone. That's absolutely not what's going to happen. But yeah, right, Dominic, tell them we play Michigan next year. Why would we want to have Ryan Day here when we play Michigan literally next season? You want to put that in? You want to put that badness in our space, right? Like, you want to put that out there? No.
Right? They have to fire him, right? 4 times in a row, losing to him twice.
He beats everybody else, though. That's where your problem lies.
Yeah, but that's like us in the Big 12 is.
There's a reason why Mac Brown didn't get fired at Texas with all of his wins, but still could not beat Stoops. He ended up winning natties. So win a natty. So they're not gonna fire that man. They're not. He too many 10-win seasons.
Oh.
Okay, guys, give me your predictions. Who, if you had to place money, who you betting the OC is?
Craddock.
Oh man, I'm gonna throw a wild card. I'm gonna say Faulkner. I think that he may end up being the wild card that comes.
Buster.
I'm gonna pick Buster. I don't think it's gonna be Buster, but I think Buster will. Oh wow! Oh my God! Whoa! Now this is huge. This isn't OU related, but this is freaking huge.
I hate you.
Shit.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Brace yourself. This is huge. Micah Hudson has hit the portal.
You know,
5-star.
This is OU related because EJ is the one that freaking got him to go there.
Whew.
Was it
3 years up to eligibility? He's a 5-star plus. 2024. Wow. This was not on my bingo card.
Bro.
Oklahoma was on that list.
It was
between Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. Oklahoma was on his list.
I would say that. I would say this, guys, is money got him to Texas Tech instead of Texas. Mm-hmm. Texas has a class of wide receivers coming in. I do not expect all of those guys to actually end up being 5-star caliber wide receivers. But at the same time, he was a Texas guy until the check. So I wonder if the check bounced.
Or somebody else is trying to get that boy to show up. All I know is that's bananas. That's bananas.
Yeah.
But answer some quick questions. If y'all got questions, jump them in here. This is. I don't think y'all understand the significance of this decommitment. because Tech had a solid season, a good rebound season, but this kid everybody wanted. We were heavily in, and I know Emmett Jones was heavily in on him. So if a miracle happens, maybe we pick up the phone. I don't know. Just know that that's freaking huge.
He had 8 catches for 123 yards and no touchdowns this year.
Right,
and
but
their leading receiver 89 catches, 1,023 yards. So I mean, listen.
Yeah, we're literally just talking
easy
stuff. This is hilarious.
It's not easy to come in as a freshman wide receiver. This is a 5-star, highly sought after wide receiver. It is not easy to come in and produce as a freshman wide receiver
at all.
And I mean, EJ was a big reason why he went to Texas Tech. There's no two ways around it. And this is the reason why Joey McGuire was pissed off that he lost EJ.
That is, yeah. He was not very happy to lose EJ.
They had to dump a big old bag on him to keep him.
Yep. Oh, there's a good question in here from Zofix. Yeah. Is this why Harris decommitted? I don't know. Possibly. But it is interesting, right?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question. I don't know, but it is interesting. All I got to say is stuff's about to get stupid over the next 24 to 48 hours, and you know that I'm going to be sitting here talking about all of it. We're going to be here. We're going to be recording, talking through it. But it does seem like a lot of the recruits are finding out about, their counterparts deciding to leave and not. And Jimmy mentioned he was once committed to OU. Did not know that. I don't recall that, but it's a possibility. I'm saying you're wrong, Jimmy, but I did not know that. It's not one that I knew.
I think you're thinking of a different Hudson.
Was there another Hudson that was committed to Oklahoma at one point?
Yeah. Hold on a second.
Let me go 247 site. 247 keeps up with the timeline of commitments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I don't see an Oklahoma commitment on here.
I don't think he was committed to OU.
No, I think that
there was talk after they hired EJ that he might move, and that's when they dumped that huge bag on him. He was still committed though to Texas at that point.
Jordan Hudson? Was it
Jordan
Hudson? Hudson is the other one. Yeah.
Safety, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Let me go look him up.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, the SMU wide receiver. Yeah.
He said it. He said he realizes it. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
Guys, listen.
Boomer asked this question.
That's where I was going.
Yeah, bowl game. Bowl game wise, no, we're not gonna play USC. So I think that get that idea out of y'all's heads. There's very low chance that they'll combine us. Because USC would have to accept, and I really doubt that he would accept it at all. So I would go ahead and just say, no, that's not going to happen. But I do think Frisco Bowl, Gasparilla Bowl out in Tampa, they'll probably try to keep it close because they to travel wise. So Frisco Bowl might be it. I don't really care. I just want the practices. I don't even care who we play. Thomas, no, RSJ isn't portaling. I've actually talked to some folks that are close with the safety room. Don't worry about that. I would like to stay online until the new OC is confirmed, but that might not be for that may not be for the rest of the day.
We're gonna pull
or tomorrow.
Pull a sleepover.
Go to sleep with the stream going. Yeah, that would be actually fun. I've never done a 24-hour stream, and honestly, I don't have any interest in it. That just sounds exhausting. No. But I think the Micah Hudson news was freaking stupid. That's just that.
I don't understand why you guys like listening to us for like 45 minutes, much less like hours.
Right. I do appreciate that. I love every single one of y'all because y'all are amazing for coming in and hanging out. We got 1,400 people total with 800 on the mainstream, awesome. 104 on Sooner or Later on the recruiting site, 500 on X. That's bananas. Kelly, no, EJ's not going anywhere. think AJ's good. I think he's the one that's probably the safest out of anybody.
Willie Corn in contention. You got a super.
We got to go to Jameson, nice one. Is Willie Corn in contention? He was mentioned after Lebby left. What I have not heard Willie Corn's name mentioned anywhere, like at all.
No.
And if I haven't heard him
for North Carolina, right? I keep hearing him about North Carolina job. Although I think Summerall's number one there.
So now that you mentioned that, Jason, that means we need to go ahead and keep going. Gosh darn it, I thought we was going to shut this down. If the North Carolina job is open, the UCF job is also open. Purdue just opened. I don't think anyone of importance takes Purdue, but why wouldn't Summerall take the job in North Carolina? Which means his OC could potentially not follow. And that means he could probably take another job. Have we seen anything as far as the UNC?
I heard earlier today that it was that they were zeroing in on Summerall at North Carolina, but I've also heard because UCF appears to be right up there as well as like which one is the best job, blah 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 blah. But it sounded like they were taking Carolina off that board because it sounds like Summerall, and that was the first person that anybody really brought up was Summerall for that job for whatever reason.
That's an interesting one.
I think he's a hell of a coach, man. He's a hell of a coach. He was killing it at Troy, and he's killed it at Tulane. I mean, they lost to Memphis, but he's looked really good.
Yeah, I say Willie Corn would potentially get that job as OC at NC with.
I agree.
If Chadwell takes that job. Now, Ray, I love the idea of old Mangino making his return. That's funny. I've said that numerous times. I've been joking about Mangino coming back to do that.
Coming up with him and Kevin Wilson again, but with Kevin, he lost the job at Tulsa, so I guess it could happen. It feels like they're not as buddy between him and him and BV though. I don't know. Tom Herman to UCF is funny. I don't see it.
Tom Herman to UCF. That's probably what's going to happen, even though he just got fired. That's crazy.
He just got fired from, And I think that another guy that should be coming up that really isn't is South Florida coach. What's his, the guy that's like went toe-to-toe with Alabama the last 2 years. Damn it. Help me with the name, guys. I'm surprised that hasn't been a hot commodity or to get a head coaching job at a Power 5.
Hey, I'll say this:
the South Florida, the Bulls coach, South Florida.
Oh, Alex Golesh.
Alex
Golesh. Yes, he coached at Tennessee with Heupel and them. Yeah,
that's right.
But what was you gonna say?
I was gonna say, also watch out for that South Florida. I mean, maybe Halsley gets that job. Maybe he takes the OC job out there. Just leaving from that down in that area.
Yeah, it's true. Sooner 918, anytime on the OC announcement? No. BV said a couple of days. It could happen now, which we think it was going to happen now with today because it only makes sense. This is like the logical day to do it, but we ain't seen anything yet, so.
Well, and I heard Travis talking about it. Travis Davison earlier was saying, he tweeted about it that it needed to happen today. So it almost felt like it was, did he know something or was he just saying, hey?
I would say that it needs to happen tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest.
Yeah, because you have to. It has to be Tuesday at the latest because signing day is Wednesday. You want to whoever you bring in, you want to make sure they at least communicate with your recruits, and then you want to also start working on your current roster and preparing for the transfer portal and start bringing people in.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that's clear, but it's when you start looking at it, they may have already made that decision because of the fact that you're starting to see so much movement all of a sudden. Feels like the players probably know.
Yeah, somebody knows something. I know that much.
They could all be surprise candidates. We could all be completely off.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're doing. They're playing a very much a shell game, and it's you don't know who the option truly is. Jonathan asked a good question. Can you explain the difference in signing day and national letter of intent this year? So what happens is because the national letter of intent piece is gone, instead the players will sign financial agreements with the schools, which binds them with the school until they get into the transfer portal windows. That's kind of like the temporary thing until they get into the revenue sharing piece. That will come down now, and they'll do that through the judgment, which is in March. And then by next year, they'll have the revenue sharing financial agreements. So the players are still going to sign some sort of a signature to the team that they're going to go to, but they can still, of course, hit the portal just like they could now.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. Yeah, good question. I'm glad you asked that. A lot of people, I've had people ask that question. A lot of people know.
There's Stink.
Stink, what up, man? Thanks, Stink, for that one. Sooner fans need to relax. We will come out better. All this end of all this happens in a year. 10,000-foot view isn't that bad. I agree. I mean, I talk about the defense. Y'all hear me talk about defense all the time. The defense is what we're going to have to – we can't lean too heavily on a defense in the SEC. That's your problem because all of these offenses have changed from back in the Saban initial era of just running the ball and being just super physical. They're throwing the ball. They're getting really good athletic dudes to do it. You have to be able to compete with that as well. So –
Charlie Strong.
Charlie Strong's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
I believe, Michael, that the players do know. That's just me personally. I believe they know. And I believe that they're going through exit interviews and stuff now based upon the knowledge of who your OC is going to be.
And guess what? We're not making that text message. We're not, that's not something that I'm going to do is texting the players and say, hey, who is it? Because number one, they've probably been given a very, very big ultimatum. But also, I just don't want to put them in that situation. I've thought about it past couple days. But I think that a couple things. I saw somebody said, I think that Malzahn threw a wrench in the whole everybody's plans, and I think that probably has a lot of truth to it. Yep. Yeah, it's a. I can say this: it's Tony Romo. He tried to show it.
Thank you, Topher. He did show up in a lot of games.
But no, I fully believe. I fully believe that that this next year is going to be much better. You're going to need to get some players, though, and you got to get some better buy-in. Because if you see what Haynes King is doing out there, you bring in Faulkner. Like I saw Haynes King play at A&M, and it looked very Jackson Arnold-esque. If he can do that there, like I'm hoping that he can do something a little bit better here.
It's true. Oh man.
Oh.
Hey, Charles, thank you so much for always pulling up. $20. We appreciate the support. But the funny one is that everyone keeps saying the Romo piece is just hilarious. Thank you, Topher. That is just hilarious. Tony Romo coming in as our new offensive coordinator. I need that in my life. Okay. Well, we're about to go on an hour and 50 minutes. Y'all know I usually go this long. My voice is already shot. LSU was fun. Hey, Death Valley was great. I will say that at night there it really wasn't as intimidating as I thought it would be. There really wasn't that many fans too. Like fans were leaving early, mainly because it was cold, and they did not like the cold.
I was going to say it doesn't even get cold there. How can that be?
I know it, but it was 30-something. It was like 40 degrees when we was out there. Dead. Wow. I had on thermals.
Wow.
I had on like 4 layers of clothes. It was cold.
Yeah, they don't like shit like that down there.
No, their fans were
at all
out because of it. So, we'll break down the roster going into next season. We'll talk about who's around. as soon as we find out who the hire is, we'll probably go live right there at that moment. If it's one where I'll text Coop and we'll jump on. But keep your eyes open for that. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Go check out Jason over there at Hall of Fame College Football with the coach. He streams evenings and mornings. He does it all. That man is always grinding. So
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, Rise and Shine College Football. Go check them out. You'll see, of course, me and Coop here around here. So with that, chop it up with y'all. Day or two. Peace.